Hello friends and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we had started the discussion over the Central Bureau of Investigation in the previous lecture. Okay, and basically these are the topics that we have scheduled for the discussion under this particular series, like the establishment of CBI, the motto, mission and the vision of CBI, the organization of CBI, the composition of CBI, functions of CBI, provisions of prior permission, CBI versus the state police and the CBI Academy. Alright. So there are total 8 topics that we had scheduled for the discussion under the topic of the CBI, the Central Bureau of Investigation. But apart from this, I had taken you for a tour of the background. Right? About background we had discussed in the previous lecture. Okay, like how did the FOSDAR and the ML systems which were introduced, which were you can say existing in India, these systems were got dissolved and then later how the British officers revived them, what were the modifications done by the Cornwallis, thereafter Lord Mayo, what thing they introduced, what was the impact of Charter Act of 1830 on the policing system in India, alright, and how did the William Bentinck gave his contribution to the force, then and how did the Government of India Act 1858 and the Police Act of 1861 standardized the police administration in British India, and then how does the names changed over the period of time, and when the Central Intelligence Bureau at the central level and the Criminal Investigation Department CID was introduced in India. Okay, so you can say that that was the background too of the police administration in India. Okay, on which we had discussed. Now let's move forward. So here we are going to talk about the establishment of CBI. Okay, so now it is the actual time that we are going to talk about the CBI. Like in the previous lecture, I had told you we were not talking about the CBI, but we were talking about the background, and even we can say that basically we were discussing about the foundation of the police system in India. Now we are going to talk about the actual establishment of the Central Bureau of Investigation. Okay, like how did the police system establish and then how did the CBI establish. Okay, so if we try to trace down the establishment of CBI, so basically we can say that the Central Bureau of Investigation, in short the CBI, was actual set up in 1963. Okay, when did it establish? In 1963 by a resolution of the Home Ministry, and you can say Ministry of Home Affairs. Okay, so basically you can say in the 1963, the year in which the CBI was established, so CBI was put under the Ministry of Home Affairs. Got it? And Ministry of Home Affairs also handles the internal services of the country. It means that whatever services we have in India at national level, all these comes under the Ministry of Home Affairs. So similar thing was happened with the CBI also. But what happened over the period of time? It was transferred to the Ministry of Personnel. Okay, and now it enjoys the status of attached office. Okay, so you can say when the CBI was established, that was put under the administrative control of Ministry of Home Affairs. Later, it was transferred to the Ministry of Personnel. Got it? After this, the another thing that we could see here is the Special Police Establishment. Okay, SPE, Special Police Establishment. So which look into the vigilance cases. Set up in 1941 and was also merged with the CBI. So here, if you match the dates, 1963 and 1941, what is the thing that you are getting in your mind right now? If you look at the years, come on, tell me what you are seeing here. So if we break them down, then what we will conclude that basically 1947 was the year when we got independence. Okay, it means when the Britishers withdraw their rule from India. Okay, in 1947 we got independence. So prior to this, what happened? In 1941, when the Britishers were ruling the country, they had introduced a new thing that we called as a special police establishment. Okay, and this special establishment had the responsibility to look in the vigilance cases. Vigilance means to, you can say, exercise the oversight powers on the various facts and figures in the country. All right, they were not in charge of the normal law and order, and you can say like a local police, but they had the responsibility to look on the specific cases which involves the question of vigilance. Okay, and when we established the CBI in the 1963, so the Special Police Establishment Act also get merged to the CBI. All right, so both of the provisions of these years, one provision from 1941 and one provision from 1963, both these provisions get merged together. All right, thus the establishment of CBI was recommended by the Santhanam Committee, okay, on prevention of corruption. Remember this also. Like we can say in 1962 to 1964, for almost 2 years, basically the Indian government appointed a committee that was the Santhanam Committee. Okay, and if we know any committee that appoints in India and appoints anywhere, so that particular committee having some, you can say, particular task and responsibilities to follow. Similar thing happened with the Santhanam Committee also. Like they had the prime task to look after the prevention of corruption. It means that to prevent the corruption cases. Okay, so that committee basically recommended that we must have an organization like the CBI in our country so that we could look after the corruption cases, the vigilant cases, and other special kind of cases in a well enough manner. Got it? And remember, CBI is not a statutory body. Why I'm saying statutory body? So we know basically there are you can say three types of bodies in general, and four types basically, not three but four. Royal bodies, also called as charter bodies, statutory bodies, constitutional bodies, and the legal bodies. About these type of bodies, I had already told you in the previous lectures. Here, I'm just going to remind you all. So, if we talk about the charter body, so charter bodies are those bodies which have been established by the royal orders of king and queen. Got it? By the royal orders of king and queen. And the best example of this is the East India Company. Okay, because the East India Company was established by the royal orders of the King of Britain. Got it? After this, the next category is for the constitutional body. So the constitutional body is the body that has been established by the constitution itself. Or you can say the provision for establishing any such kind of body is provided within the constitution. Okay, so these are the constitutional bodies. Got it? After this, the third form and second form, you can say it's the statutory body. The statutory body is any kind of body which having its own rules and regulations. Okay, if the particular body has been established by the act which contains the own rules and regulations specifically, and you can say specially designed for that particular organization only, then it is called the statutory body. Got it? After this, the last is the legal body. Any body which has been established under any particular act. Okay, like if we talk about any company, suppose XYZ is a company, so that company is required to be established under Companies Act 2013 or Companies Act 1952. Okay, under these two acts, the following company could be established. So there are three types of bodies. So four types of bodies. So if we talk about the CBI, so remember CBI is not a statutory body. Remember this thing. CBI is not a statutory body. Why? Because if we talk about the CBI, the CBI does not have its own act. Okay, there is no separate act had been passed in the parliament to establish the CBI. So if the CBI does not having its own, you can say act, rules and regulations, then on which factors the CBI works? So basically the CBI derives its power from this one. DPS, DSP, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. Okay. So remember, Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946 was the main act of the CBI, and all the powers that the CBI exercises, all these powers are basically come from this particular act, the CBI Act. Sorry, the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act 1946. That's why the CBI is not a statutory body, because the CBI does not have its own act. Okay. Here, if we talk about the CBI, then we can say the CBI is the main investigating agency of the central government. Okay, investigating means, suppose there are always two types of agencies. If we talk about the investigating and preventing. Okay, preventing agencies are those agencies which works when the crime has not been committed. Okay, so that they could prevent it. Investigating agencies are the agencies which works when the crime has been committed, so that they are required to investigate the case and find out the cause. Okay, so if we talk about the CBI is not a preventive body. It means that the government will not employ the CBI before the commitment of the crime, because if the crime has not been committed, to which thing the CBI will do the investigation, right? Because it is not a preventing body, but it is an investigating body. All right. So CBI is the investigating body. It means that the central government uses the CBI to investigate the cases after the committing of the crime. Now the CBI has a responsibility to look after the crime and then try to find out the cause and then present it to the judiciary for the punishment cases. All right. And here you can see it is clearly defined that the CBI is under the central government. So if we talk about the Ministry of Home Affairs, so it is a central Ministry of Home Affairs. CBI is not under the state government. Okay. So we can say basically the power vested with the central government to employ the CBI. It plays an important role in the prevention of corruption and maintaining integrity in the administration. All right, to prevent the corruption and to remove the corruption and maintaining the integrity in the administration. Okay, also provides for the assistance to the Central Vigilance Commission (CVC) and the Lokpal. So basically, if we talk about these two organizations, the Central Vigilance Commission and the Lokpal, so these organizations are also designed for preventing the corruption, maintaining the integrity in the administration, all right, and other things. So CBI by its own could convert the investigation and also having the responsibility to assist the organizations like the CVC and the Lokpal in maintenance of the integrity in the administration and preventing of the corruption. Got it? There is a difference between the nature of cases investigated by the NIA and the CBI. So here you can say basically there are two things: Central Bureau of Investigation, National Investigation Agency. Okay, so there are two things: the NIA and the CBI. And the one thing that you will find here common is that both of them are the investigation agency, right? Both of them are the investigation agencies. So it means that both of them having the similarity in the conductance. They will conduct the investigation after the commitment of the crime, not before the committing of the crime, because they are investigation agency, not a preventing agencies. All right. But the difference is that the NIA investigates the different cases and the CBI investigates the different cases. There are differences. So if we talk about CBI, we know that it was established in 1963. If we talk about the NIA, National Investigation Agency, so basically that has been constituted after the Mumbai terror attack in 2008. We know in 2008 Basically, there was a terror attack carried on our country. Okay, and this is famously known as 26/11 or 26/11. All right. So basically, after this act, the new agency came into the picture. That name was NIA, National Investigation Agency. Okay, and this got the responsibility for investigation of incidents of terrorist attacks, funding of terrorism, and other terror-related crimes. Whereas the CBI investigates crime of corruption, economic offences, serious and organized crime other than the terrorism. So we can say, however, the NIA and CBI, both of them are the investigation agencies, but the domain in which they investigate, the domain is different. The CBI investigates in the corruption cases, economic offences, serious and or you can say serious and organized crimes, and other anti-state elements other than the terrorism. While when we talk about the National Investigation Agency, so that was established for the main purpose of looking into the terror cases. Got it? After the establishment and the purpose, now we are going to talk about the motto, mission, and vision of CBI. There are three things: motto, mission, and vision of CBI. Okay, so if we look at the first one, that is the motto. Okay, so the motto is industrial impartiality and the integrity mission. Okay, and if we took it into detail, so we can say to uphold the Constitution of India and the law of the land through in-depth investigation and successful prosecution of offences. Okay, and to provide leadership, and you can say direction to the police forces, and to act as the nodal agency for enhancing interstate and international cooperation in the law enforcement. So that is the motto. Okay. After the motto, if we talk about like what is the vision, like what is the vision of the CBI, so we can say based on this motto, mission, and the need to develop the professionalism, transparency, adaptability. Professionalism, transparency, and adaptability to change, and use of science and technology in its working. The CBI will focus on the following. Like first is combating the corruption in public life, curbing economic and the violent crimes through meticulous investigation and the prosecution. This is the first vision. Like they will fight the corruption in the public cases, curbing and lowering down the economic and the violent crimes, and do it by the investigation and the prosecution. Okay, investigation, they will find out the cause and the evidences. In the prosecution, they will ensure based on the cause and then evidences, the accused should be punished. Second is evolving effective systems and procedures for successful investigation and prosecution of cases in various law courts. Okay. After this, helping fight cyber and the high technology crime. Now, what is this? So basically, if we talk about this particular thing, then let me tell you one thing. If we talk about today's scenario, and if we talk about the scenario in which the CBI was established, so the things you can say have been changed over the period of time. Okay, especially in the cyber and the high technologies, and you can say especially in the world of computer field engineering. And why I'm saying this? Because if we look at the 1963, okay, the year in which the CBI was established. So that was the year when there was a second generation of computers were working. Okay, so the computer system on that time was not so much advanced. Okay, so the cyber and the high technology crime area was not so much prevalent on that time. But if we talk about today's scenario, when there is a fifth generation of the computer system in India, in the world as well. Okay, so basically there is a cyber and the high technology crime rates, which are very much high. So basically, this is the responsibility of CBI to fight with those. Okay. After this, we can say creating a healthy work environment that encourages the team building, free communication, and the mutual trust. Encourages the team building, free communication, and the mutual trust. Got it? After this, third is supporting the state police organizations and the law enforcement agencies in national and international corporations, particularly related to the inquiries and the investigation of it. Got it? After this, playing a lead role in the war against national and the transnational organized crimes. So here, if you see national, what does it mean? It means that the crime syndicates that work under within the Indian territories. So basically, they will try to eliminate those factors first. If we talk about transnational, it means that international organized crime syndicates that also having the roots in India, and you can say also having the relevancy to the Indian subcontinent in a somehow manner. So they will fight against them. After this, upholding the human rights, protecting the environment, arts, antiques, and heritage of our civilization. Okay, so it means that apart from general policing, criminal, and the civil cases, they also responsible for maintaining the cultural heritage of this country. Okay, after this, developing a scientific temper. Okay, developing a scientific temper, humanism, and the spirit of inquiry and reform. Okay, amongst the members. Striving for the excellence and the professionalism in all spheres of functioning so that the organization rises to high levels of endeavor and achievement. So these are the vision of the CBI. After this, now we are going to talk about the organization of CBI. So basically, if we talk about it, then we can say originally, if we take the case of original cases in 1963, okay, and that was the year in which the CBI was established after the recommendation of Santana Committee, which was appointed for 1962 to 1964. All right, and we know that that was adopted for the prevention of the corruption. So in the 1963, the year in which the CBI was set up, so it had the several 6 divisions: investigation and the anti-corruption division, and this is empowered by the Delhi Special Police Establishment Act. Okay, technical division, got it. Criminal records and the static divisions, research division, legal in the general division, and last is the administrative division. So these were the 6 divisions which were provided to the CBI originally in 1963. Okay, so that's the thing. So basically, students, you can say that in this lecture we have finished till here. In the next lecture that we would continue from here. Till then, just revise the facts and figures that all we have discussed in this lecture and be ready for the another lecture. But before we end this lecture, let me tell you one thing, that whatsoever the establishment, motto, mission and vision we had seen, and even now we had just taken the overview of the composition of the organization of CBI. Okay, all these things are important from the examination point of view because the questions could be directly asked in the examination from these areas. So please make sure that you will revise all the facts and figures in the proper sense before you come for next lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture, and what we say thank you.